And away we go for the final time in 2025. Welcome to the pickup meeting, everyone.
Yeah. This is a fun one, Kevin.
Right. This is a new format that's coming. We should have the breaking news at this moment, but essentially we're ending 2025 and how we will continue on in 2026.
That's right. Well, these kind of mini episodes where it's just you and me.
It's just you and I, Brody. There's a country song that just keeps coming to my mind, and it's like, just you and I, and then the woman says, just you and I. I don't know what song it is, but like that's what this is about. You and me moving forward. Here we go.
Islands in the Stream, like Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, right?
Yeah, we'll practice that one for the next episode.
A love letter to the advising community.
Islands in the Stream. Let's go. Wouldn't be the first time I sang it. So we're trying to think of names for this. Like we will always be the pickup meeting, but we've come up with some things, and I was going to at least throw them out to the audience, right? And not that they get to decide, but maybe we'll get some feedback. In between meetings, because it's the pickup meeting, and these will be in between every other week.
The pickup minis.
The pickup minis. Because these are going to be smaller. We know that people can't handle this much of us for that long a period of time, so they can't be long episodes.
Right, like 30 minutes feels like the right amount of you and I together, alone, talking about stuff.
Yes, without interruption from someone else. Yes, absolutely. You suggested, and then you're like, oh, but you hate coffee, the coffee run edition, which I think is a great one.
It's a great one, but you need to like coffee.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Golly.
Right. I mean, we could do Diet Coke, but they're not sponsoring yet, so that's out. And so then the last one we kind of had as an option was the Just Us episodes. And so for at least today, this is a Just Us episode.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it fits. I really do. And in this Just Us episode, we are releasing here the final episode of the pickup meeting for 2025, and it's in that Christmas holiday time frame. Are you excited?
I am excited. I love that time from Thanksgiving to Christmas. It's such a fun time. Like 2 holidays, lots of breaks, lots of time to rewind and kind of reflect on a semester. I really enjoy that time, kind of getting the house ready to go, although I've been really bad about that the last couple of years, but thinking about the gifts that you're going to give, maybe what you're going to get. I'm a little selfish sometimes. So I'm like, oh, what am I going to get?
What are you going to get?
I don't know. Probably records. Let's go. I mean, what are you going to get?
I don't know. I really don't. I have zero idea. I'm really difficult to get gifts for, I think. My wife says that that's the case. My family, I think, says that that's the case. Like, just because there's a lot, but it's also like I'm pretty particular about things.
Well, I mean, now's a chance, right? Like I was talking to my wife this morning. I'm like, well, I need a new running hat. I need 25-pound dumbbells. I wouldn't mind a couple music posters. Obviously, records are on the list. Like, records are always on the list. I need some new running socks.
But you say records being on the list, and like if I sent you 5 records, chances are, how many of those would I hit on?
I don't know. It depends on what you're going to send me. Like,
that's obviously the point.
Are you going to a thrift shop and just pulling out 5 records? Or are you actually paying attention to when we talk about what I like or what I don't like?
Yeah, I think you like all music, so I can't fail in this, right? As long as I'm not buying, I couldn't even tell you somebody you dislike. Wow, we should have a question on a future episode of artists you dislike.
Not a big Def Leppard Pour Some Sugar on Me fan. That version of Def Leppard was not fun. I don't really enjoy country music all that much.
That's true. The country part of this. If I sent you 5 Patsy Cline albums, you would not be thrilled with that.
I mean, 1 would be enough.
Okay.
I'd find a way to listen to 1.
All right. So do you have what? Go.
My dad was a big country music fan, so I like a lot of the old classic country. Like, there's nothing wrong with Johnny Cash or Marty Robbins or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're a Pins guy and a Vikings guy now. Like I would assume anything Vikings, any pin.
Yeah, these are good. I think people are a little leery of the pins because, as you can see, for the YouTube audience on behind me, just pins on my wall, like 500 or 600 of them, and it's like I think people are afraid I already have them all, and I just think that's probably not true because there are so many pins out there.
Yeah, you've got a lot of them, but there's always more to get because you're always going to different places.
Well,
I mean, gifts are fine, but that's not why we really celebrate the holidays, is it, Kevin?
No, it's not. It's about the traditions and memories. And I know you want to talk about some traditions and memories.
I know you do too.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, I kind of introduced this when we were talking to Bobby, but growing up, like Pizza Hut after the 4:30 Christmas Eve Mass was like the fanciest the Brochures family got. I mean, I love that dinner. I loved that Christmas Eve dinner with my brothers, my mom and dad. We kind of did that before we went out to my grandma Hillenbrand's house. What a great tradition. My mom's orange slice cake. Like, this is like fruitcake on steroids. I know fruitcake is kind of this polarizing thing, but my mom makes this cake with the candies, like the orange slices. And
it sounds delicious.
Oh my God. It is so amazing. And she makes me one now every year. I don't think she makes it anymore except for me. Sometimes she'll make me two. They weigh like 100 pounds. They're like bricks, but they taste awesome. I'll take a picture and send it to you.
You have to.
And then I've got a couple of old photos I was going through. You know, my dad passed away a couple of years. My dad loved Christmas. And later in life, he really got into taking photos with a really nice camera. And I've got just a couple of great pictures of me taking pictures of him taking pictures. And I really treasure those.
Absolutely. I mean, how fantastic is it? Do you have those memories and have that you can look back on and just share that time frame with the entire family? But in that moment with your dad, that's just fantastic.
What do you have? Like, what are some of your best memories?
You know, I think about this every year and during the holidays of like the things that we do as families and as parents and just how we are connecting in the world around us. And so I think it's funny, right? Like the Santa part of this, and I don't think we have a huge Santa believing audience at this moment. So I'm going to talk out of turn here some, but in our house, spoiler alert, right? In our house, we would go to Mass, grew up Catholic and went to Catholic church. And we would go to the 5 or 6 o'clock Mass. And every year we'd get loaded into the car. And every year my mom would say, "Oh, my stomach hurts. I need to go to the restroom real quick. You guys just stay here. I'll just be a second." And like after like 3 minutes, then my dad would say, "I better go check on your mom and see if she's doing okay." And then we would come home from church and magically all of the presents would be there. And, you know, so it's just
that's awesome.
I just remember these things as being like such a part of those moments of the year, right? And like being so excited, but also being at Mass and like looking through the windows outside and be like, "Oh my gosh, I think I saw something move. I think I saw Santa," you know,
yes.
Like just remembering those time frames. But we did Christmas Eve, Christmas essentially. So we're opening the gifts from the big guy on Christmas Eve.
How did your parents explain that?
Listen, I don't know. Like he got to our house early. What are you going to do? Right. But I now as a parent thinking back on this, because that would happen. And then instantly after it was all said and done, I would call my friends in the neighborhood and be like, "Oh my gosh, Santa came to the house and here's what I got." And you have to realize how much my parents were pissing off all of the other neighborhood parents at that moment. Because they're like, "How do we explain that?" Just, you know that it was a nightmare scenario. And so it was, you know,
early
video games and
you paid extra.
Yeah. Star Wars toys and all kinds of things over the years that I think has just been, you know, those gifts that stand out. But, you know, really it's the memories of like Christmas Eve day, going to my grandma and grandpa Thomas's and then going to church that night. And the next day going to my grandma and grandpa Winks, my mom's family. And so, you know, those are the things that stand out so much. And yeah, food along the way and different things, but it's just the memories of that time frame and those days is just something that stands out every year.
Yeah, we get really busy too. I mean, we still have 3 of our 4 parents kind of hanging out, right? And lots of cousins. But one of the things I'm really happy about is that me and Kat, we spend some time early in the morning on Christmas Day with just the girls, and that's great. Like, I think it's important to kind of make your own traditions, no doubt.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed that. Do you all do something like that with Braden now?
Yeah, we've really committed to being at home on the holiday, in that time frame. It was one of those things as parents, or especially early on, when you're newly married folks and you're coming together, it's like, well, where are we going to do Christmas at, and how is this going to work? And at some point, my wife having to have the very difficult conversation with both sets of parents that, we're going to have Christmas at our house. Like, he needs to have his own memories. So I was glad that she had that for me.
That's what wives are for, right? They do a great job of that.
Yeah. So, and then, there's books that we read at the night before, and just really make sure that we're spending time together. There's movies that have to be watched as, wrapping gifts and doing things. There's a whole host of movies, Home Alone, Family Stone, different movies that we'll watch as a family and really enjoy. And it's just, our memories, our time together. Enough so that we were at Disney last year, the day before Christmas. We said to Braden, hey, let's just stay through Christmas. And he's like, no, I want to be at home for Christmas. Like, I want to be in the house. So, those memories matter to him too, which is we really love.
I thought you were going to say, he was saying, I don't know if Christmas, is Santa going to make it here?
I don't think he was worried about that anymore, thankfully.
He is a little old for that. I mean, he's writing his own books now, for God's sake. He better know.
He is writing his own books. And like, that is just the wildest thing. And maybe this is a good transition of like the things that, we think about for 2025 that maybe are those things that we're really, really proud of or really happy about. And then those things that are like maybe our fails of 2025 and what would we do differently under the, what are we really, really proud about? My kid wrote a book, man. Like, that's so amazing and just mind blowing and surreal. And people bought the book. You bought the book. Thank you for buying the book.
Yeah, I did. It's
The Reaper Chronicles, the Syndicate Arc, Part 1, which indicates there's going to be a Part 2. There is. I already know it. But people have been buying this book and man, like, that's just, it's a weird thing to know that your kid's talent is out there in the world and being digested in a way. It was Kevin Wathen, a good friend of mine that works in the field at SIU. You met Kevin at NACADA.
Yeah, I did.
He wrote me a text and he said, I'm through 4 chapters of the book. And he said, it's fantastic. And also, your son has the gift. And I'm like, gosh, dang, how nice of a compliment is that?
It's pretty amazing.
What about you? Wins for the year?
Oh, I mean, NACADA this year was great. I did a couple of new sessions this spring, one on AI and one on connecting retirement kind of principles and retirement development with first-year student development, which was kind of interesting, right? Trying to make the connection between what a successful retirement looks like and what a successful first-year student transition looks like. Obviously, winning the Bobby Flaherty Service Award's a pretty big win. Like, that was kind of fun. And I had a great time at the annual conference, right? My brother and his wife were there. My wife spent some time. We kind of crossed the streams there. She had never been to a NACADA event, so she got to meet some of my folks that I see every year. That was exciting. So that's my big win, I think.
I was really trying to consider those things that like would be fails of 2025, because I really struggle with the fail term anyway, because everything's something you're learning from. And so there's always some wins, even if it's some struggles. But I think as I reflected on it a little bit, my fail is realizing that there are certain periods of time that it's okay to not have your foot on the gas pedal, whatever that might look like. And especially I think about it professionally. I have a really strong team here at UCA that I enjoy working with and enjoy really driving us forward here as an institution. But every once in a while, it's okay to be on cruise. And my team is kind of at a place where being on cruise control, that's just like meeting the expectation, not constantly trying to exceed the expectation, is where we are. And like, that's been a really difficult thing for me to just not have the foot on the gas pedal. But life, some of the leanness of things going on, some of the things that are happening within higher education, just the work has gotten a little difficult. And so I think this year, just realizing that I don't always have to have my foot on the gas pedal would be my takeaway of things I could do a little differently.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot about this question. You've kind of caught me off guard. I don't, Kevin, we've talked about like my streak, right? 10,000 steps a day for 5 years. And this spring, right? Like, I go out for a run at the end of March and my knee just doesn't cooperate, right? And I go in and do all the checking and have a torn meniscus, and then you got to kind of take a step back. And so to me, right, like, I don't know that I do anything differently, but sometimes it's just about being uncomfortable with the uncomfortable, or not even just realizing that, I am getting older. Sometimes you got to slow down, and the streak was really important for me at a certain point in time. And maybe now, like, both in work and in my personal life, it's just a recommitment to just being the best version of you, right? I don't know that I'm not doing that, but, I really struggled right there after the streak broke, that like, well, why do I even run or walk anymore? Why do I, and so I think you get a little bit older like me. I mean, I turned senior citizen this fall, at least according to the AARP. I'm full senior citizen now, that 55 years old, and you start to think about some things. So I think it's just kind of being more comfortable with the idea that, you might have to slow down. Right. You may need to savor the things that are really important to you and be kind of fully intentional and connected to that, which might speak to some of the things I'll talk about a little bit later in terms of my goals for 2026.
Well, and, I really think the streak part of things, my counselor has a really healthy conversation with me every once in a while when I start talking about the step streak, where she says, what happens on the day you do 9,999?
Oh,
right. And it's
brutal.
And it's one of those where I feel like, because she has had that conversation, and it's not just this, right? Like, it's a level of perfectionism and a level of detail that probably isn't the healthiest to have, but it is motivating in some ways. And next week is 1,000 straight days of 10,000 steps.
Man, that's awesome, Kevin.
Right. I'm super pumped about it, but I do think about that, what happens on that day. Cause I remember when you called me and you said, hey, I'm not going to get it today. This is what happened. And you even led with steps before you led with the injury. And I was like, what's happening? Did you like give up? Like, what's happening?
Every streak is broken.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like your real, Cal Ripken Jr. moment. Like, you were walking across, high-fiving your friends as you went, I did it for this long, everyone. I made you super country there.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But
speaking of that, when I moved to Iowa, they thought I was the most country person in the world. I think about that a lot. Like, I don't sound that Southern Indiana. I guess maybe I do.
I don't know. We're going to have to put out a poll on that one. Does Brody sound Southern? When we talk,
we have to talk about some work stuff too, because we don't have a guest.
All right. Well, I think one of the things that I was thinking about here is that in the last few weeks, the Academic Advising Quarterly article that I put together for that publication came out, and I believe you're writing for that too. That's right? I
am. I thought we could talk about both of those things. Like, your article about advising as an art, right, is really great.
It really does stem from being in the field for so long, and seeing people that you work with that are artists, and that there's a difference in those things, and that there are certain people that look at this and you can just see that evolution of being a prescriptive advisor, right? Like when new people come on, it's like, well, here's the checklist and here's what I'm going to talk about. And here are the things. And as they start to figure it out, and as people start to figure it out, it really does become an art form. And then for folks that really connect in a way that is special, it just becomes like watching someone do their craft. And there's just nothing better than hearing an appointment that's going at that level and in that way, and you can see the connections and the relationships and the belief and the belonging and what that power really comes to. And so, yeah, I thought it was a good article to write for those reasons, because I think advising's at that crossroad right now.
Yes.
They're at that crossroads where AI and technology can make things very prescriptive and very informed. But if that's what we think advising is, we're missing out on that relationship that needs to occur.
Yeah, it's not a transactional event, right? Like we're not, you wrote this in the notes, right? We do prep every now and then, gang. Like you said, we're not service providers, right? We really are about making a difference in students' lives. And it's what students report as the most important parts of their experiences on college campuses are the personal relationships they develop with faculty and staff and other students that makes the difference, right? I mean, ultimately, most of the research suggests that, and our advising practices should reflect that.
Yeah. And it's one of those too that I think that it's an interesting, and with respect to the article that's there, and for folks that were wanting to read it, you check out LinkedIn page. You can search Academic Advising Quarterly. There's a lot of really great articles that are in there. But I think it's one of those things that people think, well, all you talk to them about is the classes they need, the curriculum they're going to take. And even if that was the case, right? Even if that was the case, still being able to tell that story well and provide that information is an art form. You could say the same thing for any class that's taught on our campus, right? Well, all you're going to teach them is 1950s history, right? But you still, like, it's already happened. You've got to be able to do it. You've got to be able to make the policy and the curriculum intersect with empathy and structure and improvisation. You know, like you've got to take those steps that really, really do stand out in teaching the student and being a good instructor in this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the article that I'm going to write for Academic Advising Quarterly here coming up, I've been talking to Matt, and we threw out a couple of ideas. I want to be helpful whenever I can. And, you know, we had Marcia on earlier this year, and she's kind of motivated both of us, I think, to kind of think about writing a little bit. And now here we are doing it. And I talked to Matt about a couple of ideas, and the one thing that kind of popped out was the power of the 30-minute meeting, right? Like the power of the 30 minutes, right? So many of our advising appointments now are the 30-minute meetings. Are you talking to advisors at NACADA? And I think about just how much we leave to chance in those 30 minutes in some way, shape, or form. Or I think about the tone that we take with our students when we're with them for those 30 minutes really matters, because sometimes it's the only chance we're going to get to have an impact on that student. And, you know, I was telling Matt before we went on before we're recording today, you know, just last week, I'm kind of reminded of the power of the 30 minutes. One of my first years of running the Living Learning Community Exploring Majors floor at the University of Southern Indiana, I think it was 2010, I had this group of 15 students that I was teaching a first-year seminar for, and that were living on the same floor and were undecided about their major. And man, it was a rough group. I think only 3 of those students came back after year 1, but I stayed in contact with most all of them. A couple of them have since passed away, right? Like I've known 2 students or 3 or 4 students that have passed away, right? And 2 of them were from that class. And so I have a couple really great stories about those 2 students. But this student that I'm going to talk about right now, just last week, you know, I wished him happy birthday on Facebook, and he sent me a note. Like, I haven't talked to this guy in 15 years. 15 years.
Amazing.
And he sent me a note. He said, Brody, I'm really impressed that you say happy birthday to me every year, right? And I just need you to know college didn't work out for me. I had a lot of problems when I was a young person. I kind of got that sorted out, and now I'm a really productive adult. I've got a great family. And I want you to know you were the only teacher, advisor that really believed in me and knew that I was going to get it done.
Wow.
15 years. I hadn't talked to this guy in 15 years other than to wish him a happy birthday. And so my article is going to start with a kind of a similar experience with a student that I worked with at the University of Northern Iowa, right? The way that we show out in those 30 minutes matters.
Yep.
It absolutely matters. And there's a lot of power in that 30-minute meeting that we underutilize so often.
And I think the thing that we forget about, because it becomes the norm, is it's one of tens of hundreds of thousands of appointments we will have. But with that student, it's one.
It's one.
Yeah. And hopefully it's the second one the next semester and the next, hopefully there's continuation of that relationship. But what you're talking about is that power in the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You have one chance to leave that first impression and just really have a strong connection with that student.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll end here and we need to get done. But the other thing that I'd say is, advisors want that generally. I mean, most of the research says advisors would like to spend less time on the transactional activities and more time on the goal setting and planning, the coaching, the personal kind of the aid in the personal and career goals, right? So let's find ways to do that intentionally.
Yep, absolutely. You've said it, though. We are at a point where if we're going to make these to be just us meetings or minis, we got to be shorter than this. And so listen, we're going to end in a top three, but we're going to do it a little differently, not just three things. What is a personal thing we're looking forward to in 2026, a professional thing we're looking forward to in 2026, and what might be the big trend or challenge for higher education in 2026?
Oh, God.
Right.
You get to go first because you got better answers than I do, I think.
I don't know about that. Well, sometimes I do. I'm going to reflect back on just traveling the world and going to record stores. But anyway, I think the personal thing for me, and I've really figured out that this is something that I like to do, is travel. I like to, and it doesn't have to be complex, but like knowing for me that in 2026, I'm very likely to go to DC, to Kansas City, I think to Charleston, South Carolina, to Disney, Minnesota, to go to another Vikings game at some point. I sure hope they're playing better by that point. Welcome
to fandom. Welcome to fandom of mediocrity, Kevin.
I know. My team and your team, same record. That's embarrassing. I'm really looking forward to the travel ahead. If we're talking about professional thing I'm looking forward to in 2026, I think that there is a certain amount of pressure to always have results. And I think that in my roles that I've been in, sometimes it's like, oh, do I ever get to see the fruits of the change that we put in? And there are some things that are coming up in this next year, whether that is preparing for the enrollment cliff that is here, right? Like the sugar high is over. And so now the drop really starts to come. That I think there's things that I've done on my end of preparation and readiness in several worlds, but especially in that enrollment world, that my institution is ready for the enrollment cliff and going to be healthy and thrive in that environment. And then the big trend, maybe challenge or whatever for higher education in 2026, I think is the noise. Right. Like I think, and I don't know if that's a trend or a challenge, but like in higher education, it's just sometimes we get lost in the noise and whatever that is. Like this year, it's been a lot of government regulation and legislative change. Yeah. And, like there's been a lot of talk about the value of higher education. And I just think if the institutions can start to get past the noise and talk about the real successes that's there, I think we're all doing better than being reactive. And so in being proactive, 2026, I'm going to say the noise is coming and we're going to have to be aware of it and just have to do a better job of telling our story and singing the song of higher education, because somebody needs to be an advocate for the great things happening on our campus, and it should be us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. That's really something I've been thinking about a lot, right? What can we control and how do we get back to some of the basics, like the role of higher education, the role of the work and the academic advisors, and absolutely academic support professionals, right? Student success, just more generally. There's a lot to be proud of in terms of the work that we've done. I know I sometimes forget about, right, what I've done in my career and the role that I've played in that. And so I think that's a good reminder. So travel is great. And Kat and I have really committed to kind of doing some specific things with the girls now that they're grown adults, right? And still trying to get the family together for a week or so. That's getting harder. But I think this spring I'm looking forward to, we're going to Maine. We're going to go watch my nephew graduate from Bowdoin College. And I think we're going to do that week out there in the Northeast, maybe hit Boston. I'm really excited about that.
You know what's funny about going up to Maine and the college that you're going to go to? This is the way food works in our mind, right? So the other night I'm out at a meal and it's really good. And my wife's like, "Are you going to take a picture of that and send it to Brody?" And I'm like, "Yeah, probably I'm going to." And the moment you say Bowdoin College, right? The thing that comes to my mind is the only time I've been to Maine, we went to like their town square and there was a food truck there that, I kid you not, had the best burger I've ever had in my life. And so if it's still there some 20 years later, you should totally go.
Okay. But, and we're in Maine, so like lobster is a thing and I don't do seafood, so I'm gonna have to sort that out. But I'm sure they make hamburgers in Maine, just like you said. So that's good.
They have chicken there, man. It's just because it's in Maine doesn't mean it's just seafood.
I'm aware.
Okay.
Thank you.
Get a pizza.
I appreciate that clarification though.
I'm speaking for all the Mainians. I don't know what it would be.
Now I'm relieved. I can eat something besides lobster in Maine. Thank you. Go. And then professionally, I just think, I've really enjoyed my time as an emerging leaders mentor. And I think just being more intentional in that practice and really reaching out to folks, and whether it's people that I supervise directly or folks on campus here that I have really good professional and personal relationships with, my folks in NACADA who that emerging leaders class, I really love the way that they're doing that now, which is kind of podding those mentors with all that entire class and being able to reach out to any of those folks whenever. I've tried to follow up with a good chunk of them that I met here this fall at the annual conference, and I've really enjoyed that. And so I just want to remain intentional in that space. And then I think on the higher ed side, the big trend and challenge, I do think that integration of technology and advising is a real it's a soft spot right now. I think there's a lot of concern about the role AI is going to play in advising. And I just feel like it's a topic that we're going to continue to talk about and have to tackle and figure out ways to kind of best utilize AI for the advising community and not use it as a crutch to erode some of those personal connections that are really important to the advising relationships. And so I'm going to try to continue to play a part in that, learn as much as I can about AI and try to share that amongst the advising community. I think I'm going to continue to try to talk about that. Maybe I put in a session for the annual conference, but to me, I think that's a big challenge for higher education, is thinking about the role that AI is going to play in all of this, just generally. And we've got to get on this bus, right? It's a locomotive that's moving pretty fast. And if we don't figure it out, I think we're going to be hurt by it.
I would agree with you. It's and that may be the thing for 2026.
Yeah,
the year of embracing, not just saying we're trying it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, this was great.
Hey, you know what? This is it. This is the last episode of 2025.
It is.
And I have to say, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for our producer extraordinaire, Matt Markin. Kudos to you, Matt, for letting us start this journey earlier in the year. And I'm so grateful that people are actually listening. That seems like a small thing to say for a podcast, but people are listening and watching, because apparently we're a hoot on the YouTube as well.
Yeah. I'm just grateful that my wife doesn't think it's terrible. At least most days.
Mine does not either. There are two wins, right? If our wives thought this was terrible, this would be a whole new situation.
Yeah. And we're enjoying ourselves. That's all that really should matter, I think, at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And listen, this is what it was, right? We started this with phone calls, and we still have those phone calls. And I will say there are far more expletives being spoken on those phone calls than on the podcast. But the podcast has been a great time. And so I'm glad that we're in 2025 and looking forward to 2026 with some new directions, new guests, and a weekly effort with each of you.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, I do appreciate you, right? I know you kind of already said this, but man, it's been great to be on this journey with you. And look, we're done. So, folks, that's this edition of I'm not as sentimental as maybe I should be, but that's it for this edition of the Pickup Meeting, the last pickup meeting of 2025. We hope your own meetings, formal or pickup style, are as meaningful and fun as this one. Until next time, do good and be nice.
See you in 2026. Cheers, Brody. Cheers.
Cheers.